What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we are doing yet another mock draft that is going to be 2 rounds separated into 2 days. So if you guys are new, feel free to stick around. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments section below, and would love for you guys to join the community. First off, I gotta shout out all y'all for showing the support and love for me when I went on vacation with my family. Just got back. I haven't been able to see them in a long time, so the fact that I wasn't able to post over the weekend, you guys still showed love for that. That was absolutely awesome, so I really do appreciate you guys for actually showing the support and making me feel like this is a genuine community, because again, you guys are awesome and I want to do this for you guys. And again, for you guys who are new, don't be afraid to give me criticism. Don't be a dick about it, alright? Don't be a dick about it. But I'm always willing to learn because, again, we all are human. We all make mistakes, and I want to give the best content for you guys, build the best mock drafts, and you know what? I can't do that by continuing to do the same dumb stuff over and over again. Let's kick this off and let's have a good draft. Starting off with the number 1 overall pick. I mean, technically the Texans should not be at number 1 overall. Doesn't really matter. We're going to take a quarterback for them anyway. Like, what? Should they be like number 2, number 3? The Texans are an enigma. I mean, I'm hoping that they could, elevate one more step, but I want to take a quick look really quickly at where we have the Browns. I swear to God, this draft order was the biggest pain in the ass for me to create. So they're technically down at pick 19 right there. That's a big drop. So it used to be back at the beginning when the quarterback class looked really good. It was like, okay, well, you know what? I could take Will Anderson here, and like Tyler Van Dyke looks to be a solid star who could be potentially rising in college football, and that's a good spot to get somebody like that. Not the case anymore. Not the case, unfortunately. I hate to say that, but this is a necessity pick. If you do want to stick with Davis Mills, I would be personally perfectly fine with going Will Anderson. Going BPA, I think, is a phenomenal move. The only issue with me going Bryce Young at this spot is because of his injury, because again, his size, sub 200 pounds, 194. And that's Alabama saying 194. So, that might be even less than that. We know Devontae Smith from Inside Sources was listed 175, was actually 155 in the playing year. I mean, you could all see it. But Bryce Young, he is the best quarterback in the class. In my opinion, he is. But you do have to think about this in terms of longevity. If Bryce Young is always hurt, what good is he to the team, to be honest, if you're picking number 1 overall? Now, if you're happy there sitting at this sounds crazy, but if you're sitting there at number 2 and you don't have a better option, Bryce Young is a phenomenal talent, which is exactly what we're going to do. But CJ Stroud doesn't have those injury problems. He doesn't have those size problems. I think he has some pretty god-awful reads. I am legitimately concerned about what's going on in his processor at points, because again, there are inexcusable mistakes. So that's why I don't have CJ above Bryce, but I know the NFL most likely will. Again, we're not seeing these shorter quarterbacks take the elevated step the way they really need to. You're seeing the guys with the crazy arm talent, which Bryce Young doesn't have the arm strength that CJ Stroud does, that can really take it to the next level, that can last as well for a long period of time. And again, it's not an AC injury, which, again, that's shoulder, if you guys don't know. That's a legitimate potential re-injury risk that you will have to take if you take Bryce Young. But CJ Stroud, I'm not trying to shit on Bryce Young here. He's phenomenal talent. I'm just trying to give my reasoning why, God forbid, I'm going CJ Stroud number 1 overall. It's really crazy for me because I started out this year with him as quarterback 4. And, I mean, that's not even bad. I had him in the first round. But still, having to take him over Bryce Young hurts me a little bit, but CJ has shown what he could be in that Wisconsin game. I will just say he has arguably the best supporting cast out of anybody in college football. So there is reason for concern. However, we are going to pray that this works out. If it doesn't, let's just say CJ sucks. Next year, Caleb Williams, Quinn Ewers, Drake May, hell, probably Anthony Richardson. We'll take him still in this draft, but just keep your eye out for that. Keep your eye out. Like, again, just like the Cardinals did. Imagine if they stuck with Josh Rosen. Would not be in the same place that they are right now. Pick number 2. Again, this, I wish you could just gut the franchise and keep your star players and be like, you know what? Like, we're just going to say, let's push off quarterback until we think there's a guaranteed guy who's just going to be that top tier. The fact is, you could actually win some of these really close games and not end up in the top 2. So you really do just need to go after the guy who could really change your franchise. And again, without the re-injury risk, Bryce Young is easily the number 1 pick for me. Easily. For a quarterback. So you have to go that route. You have to. There's a lot of people talking about Will Levis moving up into this range. And I understand why people would say that. But again, you have to realize that, Will Levis, I'm very happy that he's been progressing every year. And it looks like he'd be a damn good hit. And he probably will be taken very soon. But we just have to wait to see consistent performance game after game, because unfortunately he's been pretty poor in his past, and now he's starting to get into that legitimate franchise quarterback tier. Pick number 3. Do I have to explain this? No, we're going Will Anderson here. The Falcons, you can go with Desmond Ridder if he sucks. Again, I already explained it. Quarterbacks next year, fire. The Bears, I don't even know what to do for the Bears anymore. Offensive line, the offense, God only knows how, the biggest enigma in the world is how the Bears can remain in these games. Justin Fields is throwing 8 completions a game, and at this point, they're still sticking it to the Vikings and almost beating them. It makes no sense to me. Of course, it's an in-division game, so I understand. But when you have a freak talent like Jalen Carter, you don't have Akeem Hicks anymore. I think that's kind of your identity is defense. I know you need to help out the offense, but there's just nobody here that is remotely good enough. And again, you don't want to reach on a need, because if you could really change your franchise in free agency for your needs and get real game changers, real playmakers, X factors in the draft, that's how you're going to be able to win. And Jalen Carter, you have to continue defining that defense if this is what you're given. If this is the layout of the draft, that's your draft order, that's your draft board at this point, you have to take the best player available. Because again, this team is not good enough. It's not one piece and you're going to be magically perfect. You have a potential quarterback. I think Justin Fields will eventually snap into it. I do see the potential. Obviously, the QB school does a lot of videos on these. So go with Jalen Carter. Continue developing those trenches. Right now, there's not a tackle in the top 5 for me. Javon Foster's getting there. And Peter Skoronski had some pretty poor reps. So I'm holding my pure obsession over him just for now. But regardless, number 5, this pains me because I usually love to put the Lions in the playoffs. The simple fact is, either your defense is Swiss cheese or else a really good defensive coordinator or head coach that is defensively minded can outplay you guys. It's unfortunate. But this is a team. So this is why I say pause on being oh shit, we need to hit panic mode. I think you're a defensive coordinator away. A defensive coordinator and a couple defensive stars and a franchise quarterback away from actual Super Bowl contention. Now, I think it's probably a linebacker, which Rodriguez, he's shown potential. I think it's maybe another corner and a safety, and then a defensive coordinator. And this team is possibly able to win their division. And that's ballsy for me to say, but I thoroughly believe in this team. Especially if you re-sign DJ Shark, you have that really nice, complete wide receiver group right there. You have a bunch of really good guys. You have a great running back, great offensive line. Again, I think Jared Goff is good enough for me not to take a QB at 5. However, I would be heavily considering it. I would. But when I'm looking at the board right now, it does seem to be the most smart thing to do to go after somebody like Will Levis at this point. And that's going to kill a lot of my fans because I know a lot of them are saying, hey, we don't need that. And I might not even go that route. I'm looking at other options here. And I wish, so this is a no trade mock. Once week 6 goes around and we actually know a draft order, that's when we'll start introducing those trades. At this point, there's not good enough value for any other position. I don't think you need to go another edge rusher. But it might be BPA. Because again, I know that you guys are talking about Quara is just not going to be that true premier position. And Myles Murphy is. And he's really good in the run game. And you guys, if I'm not mistaken, got sliced up in the run game as well. This is crazy for me because I rip people apart for going edge rusher. But again, go best player available. You got Josh Pascal in the last draft. Again, he's someone who can kick inside as well. That's what I really liked about him. I actually thought he was better as an interior than as an edge. So this is crazy for me. This boggles my mind. But God forbid we are going Myles Murphy. It's best player available. You have to do what's best for the team. You have to get the best players. And again, edge rusher is a very premium position. You're going to have to pay a lot of these guys a lot of money. This is a way of actually saving it and getting a player who's even better. So, again, you're building through the trenches. I know it's not the best thing in the world, but you have to go with the best player on the board. Pick number 6, we got the Seahawks on the board. And, I mean, again, this team probably shouldn't even be at 6. I would still consider a quarterback. I mean, man, Geno's looking good. But the question is, can that be year after year? We see guys like Nick Foles come in, and all respect to Big Nick, he can get figured out pretty easily. And I think Geno Smith could be too. The simple fact is, you guys aren't winning the games. I think defense could be a primary concern, but there's nothing at this point. If Myles Murphy were on the board, I'm hitting that trigger right now. I think you have to take another shot on a QB. If it doesn't work, you have Geno Smith. Remember that. Anthony Richardson has a crazy ceiling. I don't think this team has the patience to develop Anthony Richardson over 2 years. I don't think he's ready. I don't. My personal recommendation would be, hey, Anthony, sit a year. Or not. I honestly would say come out and sit a year. But it's either sit a year, or if you really want to play, go back to college, challenge those top guys, because Caleb Williams is going to be Caleb Williams. But so is CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. You're not beating them out. And you're probably not beating out Will Levis either. So if you're QB4 in this class or the next, I'd rather be a QB4 in a class where there's 3 guys who might go in the top 5 than one where, like, we're kind of forcing, like, we don't even know the draft order yet, but we're kind of like pushing guys into the top 5. I'm just saying, Anthony Richardson could be really a premium position. At his size, he could outplay Quinn Ewers and Drake May. Just saying. So I'm going to go Will Levis here, though. Regardless, I think that his talent is, at this point, better than Anthony Richardson's. I said he wasn't exactly a scheme fit last time just because my mental idea of what a Seahawks quarterback is obviously has been through the mindset of Russell Wilson. And then now through Geno Smith, I don't see Will Levis anywhere near either of those, but he is athletic. He is one hell of a competitor. He is very coachable. He looks like he actually enjoys football and tries his best. And what's important is you're seeing progression year after year after year. I ripped him apart in the offseason because of the fact he had 15 big-time throws with a big arm, and he has a big arm. And he couldn't beat out Sean Clifford. But the fact is, even, I'm not going to say this is a comparison, but Joe Burrow had struggles. And then he came to LSU. He even had some struggles before his great year. Not saying that's the same case, but we have seen guys who struggle early, who finally piece it together and are ready for the NFL. I think Will Levis could be that guy. And again, with the quarterbacks, with the bullshit rules, quarterbacks are going to be able to last way longer. And it's no longer, this is a 21-year-old, he'll probably be retiring around 31, 32, or not be good enough anymore. Now it's at probably 35 years old that he's starting to taper off. So that time frame has shifted. And I think that's a perfect opportunity for the Seahawks to grab a guy who really could be an amazing asset to this team and really change their position in their division. Pick 7, New Orleans via the Eagles. Again, I would love to have New Orleans higher, but can't. I wish Myles Murphy were here. I wish he were. He's not. So I'm looking at other positions to draft here. I love the idea of going a corner at this point. And y'all know that I had Joey Porter Jr. as my corner number 2. And through injury, not through anything else, through injury, he has moved up to number 1. Not because he got injured, but because my number 1 corner, which we'll talk about soon, has been consistently injured. And he's been coming back and been playing lights out, so I'm very happy for him. He's still right neck and neck with Joey Porter, but this man is special. I think I would say a more logical pick for this team would be maybe to go after an edge rusher, but I think we can do that later. I do. And Andre Carter's having a lower pressure rate this year, so I'm going to be slightly pushing him down the board. However, Joey Porter Jr., I'm telling you, he's a top 10 pick. He has the size, he has the speed, and he has the coverage ability that is just top tier, and he plays the run better than any corner that I've ever seen. This guy is a freak, and he scares the shit out of me. If he goes head-to-head versus running backs and wins. He will get trucked by Tank Bigsby and still bring him down. One-on-one. That's what I freaking love about this guy. He just, if he goes to the Eagles, lights out. Lights out. And I don't think Garrett Bradbury is going to be able to return as much as that would be a great thing for the team because Bradbury's great. he's going to require a lot of money because he's proven himself year after year after year. And if I'm the Eagles, I'm sitting here with the number 7 pick. I could get Joey Porter, and then I could use that money elsewhere and be able to get maybe even another safety. You guys know what I mean. You can reallocate that elsewhere and get a great player for a long time at a much cheaper price. I'm taking that for me. Pick number 8. I wish Will Levis were here because that'd be the pick. But he's not. And I don't know if I'm going to be pulling the trigger on Anthony Richardson in the top 10 because he's had some god-awful games. And it's okay to say, hey, you're not good enough. The fact is, the offensive line's not good enough either. Let's just be real here. They're not. So for me, I'm looking at some tackles here. And it's down to Peter Skoronski, Broderick Jones, or Javon Foster. And Broderick Jones didn't have the best week versus that Missouri defensive front, which has some really good players, and I'm very excited to watch him in depth because Isaiah McGuire looks incredible. Like, there's some reps in there I'm like, ooh, like, whoa, this guy belongs in a starting front 7 in the NFL. So we saw him go toe-to-toe, but the thing is, Javon Foster is just going off right now. The fact is, he let up 1 pressure, and that's because his quarterback, honestly, not too bueno, versus Georgia. And I watched every snap of that, and I fell in love. His athleticism's off the charts. I can guarantee you, we're talking about Trevor Penning moving up into the top 20. The simple fact is, Trevor Penning never had the skills required to be a top 10 pick, or a top 20 pick. The fact is, his combine scores is what pushed him into that category. Javon Foster very well might challenge those. He might be better athletically as well. And therefore, his talent on the field as well as his pure athleticism are going to combine for me taking him at number 8 overall because I love Skoronski. He does have potential arm concerns. Pick number 9 for Washington. So this is one where I might go Anthony because, again, if you're going to suck at QB, you might as well potentially be excited for somebody not sucking in the future. It sucks. It really does. But I really think Anthony Richardson might be the best move for you guys. Corner's another one. You could wait to the second round to go a QB. The thing is, I don't know, is Riverboat Ron going to be fired? If you're in the top 10, there's a good chance. However, let's assume not. He's not going to draft a QB that he has to wait on multiple years. We saw that last year with Rule. They were like, okay, we're going to go back into free agency, get a QB. That didn't work, so RIP Matt Rule. But I think going after someone Garrett Williams, Keely Ringo, might be the best return on your investment right now. Again, you need to continue making this defense top tier because your defensive line is god tier. And it's not materializing. So I'm going to go corner here. Keely Ringo's a stud. Garrett Williams is a stud. You choose whichever one you want because, honestly, I don't care. I love them both. I'm going to go Garrett Williams just because it's the more exciting pick because everybody knows about Keely. But it really doesn't matter. Garrett Williams is a stud, so I have him above Keely. But by 2 spots. Again, it's nothing. You choose whichever one you want. I love Garrett Williams. Keely's a little bit better in press. Who cares? Honestly, your preference. Because that is my preference right there. Pick number 10, the Jets are on the board. And yeah, they've been doing better, but I'm not going to be like, let's just say they're the best ever, right? We're not going to go there. So I'm looking at offensive line. To be honest, Elijah Vera Tucker could play anywhere. Happy to see that. And he's been doing a very good job. So you could say, hey, we could do the same thing with Peter Skoronski because AVT kind of was a guard hybrid and we made that succeed. Peter Skoronski might be a guard tackle hybrid as well. And I think that's a great idea. Honestly, they've shown the ability to train their O-line in a way that allows that versatility. Therefore, I'm comfortable taking a risk on someone who might be a guard tackle hybrid. So Peter Skoronski, you have to address that tackle spot eventually. And, AVT's great at fitting in places. At the end of the day, you need 5 offensive linemen, not 1. So, Peter Skoronski is the dude. Pick number 11, the New York Giants. I think you might want to just go corner here. You could go QB. Tanner McKee's not worth it, guys. This Tanner McKee in the top 10 hype needs to let's just stop it. Anthony Richardson might be your best bet because of the fact that it's Brian Dable. But I really do think the NFL is going to be like, dude, I'm not going to spend a top 10 pick or top 15 pick on somebody who he flashes some great physical talent. But honestly, it's not like Patrick Mahomes where he's putting up 700-yard games and looking god tier and then making a lot of mistakes. It's like these are elementary mistakes. Like the most like the rookie quarterbacks, like the true freshman quarterbacks, are doing this subconsciously all the time. They're processing perfectly these situations, and Richardson's just like, no, I'm just gonna do the exact wrong thing. And I think he can definitely get past that. And I think over time, even over the season, that might change. So we're gonna hold off on that for right now, because I do think they are kind of pretty much a quarterback away. But that also is something you could solve in free agency. You could definitely go Keely Ringo here. Like, Wink Martindale's going to just fall in love with a man like Keely Ringo. And I think that's the best return on your investment. The Steelers are sitting here, and I have so much faith in the Steelers. I think Kenny Pickett is the franchise guy. I'm putting my foot down. I'm saying he is the dude. And I'm happy to say it. I also say that we need offensive line. And it's Broderick Jones or Anton Harrison. You really need to get some help. The wide receivers, we all know the weapons are very solid for Pittsburgh. I think corner, certainly another one that I would potentially go after. But at pick 12, I am not going to go corner 4. I'm not. It's just not worth it to me when you have really good tackles on the board. Broderick Jones certainly seems to be a dude who I'd be a big fan of. Anton Harrison has left and right tackle versatility. Therefore, I'm going to go Anton. It could be something to bite me in the ass. It's another thing where you choose your preference because both of them are really good in their own aspect. So Anton Harrison's going to be the dude for me for the Steelers at pick 12. Pick 13, we have the Patriots, who somehow keep scraping out wins, even with Bailey Zappi. I think wide receiver definitely could be a position that they target. Jordan Addison's here, as well as Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think the best guy, so I'm trying to think back to how Mac Jones was able to just completely kick ass in his time there at Alabama. And he had some really good speed. And he had some guys who are really good separators. And to me, I want Jordan Addison for that. I do. He makes football look easy. Just when you watch him play, he just looks like it's on autopilot. So to me, you could go Jack Smith and Jigba and get a really good, really nice big separator. But when I'm thinking back to how Mac Jones became Mac Jones, he did it through Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle. Jordan Addison's a really good representation of both. So I really like Jordan Addison. Therefore, pick 13 is him. Pick number 14, we have the Titans. And honestly, I want to go wide receiver for this team, continue building it out. But I cannot turn a blind eye to this offensive line. Your identity is the run game. And you need somebody who's consistent in that. Broderick Jones is your guy. Pick number 15, we have the Seahawks via Denver. They shouldn't be even there. Denver sucks, but they're there. And for Seahawks, unfortunately, we could have gotten Anthony Richardson here. I didn't really expect it. I do this all on the fly, guys, by the way. This is all on the spot. But Will Levis was already taken. Let's find the next best thing. And I think going someone like Andre Carter, getting a nice edge rusher, is certainly a very good idea. You could go after some corners. You could try to go after even a linebacker like Trent Simpson, which honestly is not a bad move. So I'm down to Trent Simpson and Andre Carter here. And the fact is, there's some really good edge rushers in this class. There's not that many good linebackers. I am going to do something I rarely do, which is pick a linebacker in the top 20. Trent Simpson is that physical freak that you do need to respect. Pick number 16, the Raiders. And y'all know where I'm running. I'm running to offensive line badly right now. Paris Johnson's been playing lights out. I'm just still wanting to see him be consistent as an NFL level left tackle. He's been consistent as a college tackle. I want to see how he does. Again, this is totally subject to change. I want to see a little bit more consistency, a little bit more comfortability, because so far he's been playing very well, and I'm more than willing to move him up. I just want to see a little bit more. Pick number 17, we got the Jaguars. And honestly, you got to go wide receiver for this team. You got to continue building the receiver group. Guard definitely is a move. But you have some great weapons here. Like, not Kayshon Boutte. The guy's going to transfer. We're not taking Kayshon Boutte this draft. He's not going to come out. But we are going to go Jackson Smith and Jigba. Really nice separator. Someone who's very accurate, like Trevor Lawrence could target. And again, if he doesn't make stupid mistakes, you're going to be fine. Pick number 18 via Los Angeles. Yes, I don't think the Rams are going to make the playoffs the way that they're playing. We are going to be going my favorite player for the Lions and Antonio Johnson. Again, getting two superstars on defense for this team to go off. I was a big fan of Jalen Pitre. I think Antonio Johnson's a little bit worse than Pitre, but he is of a very similar caliber. Speaking of a team that has Pitre, we have the Texans. And since you guys are sitting here, it's too unfortunate that CJ Stroud was taken. Because, again, we're having Anthony Richardson fall. Understandably. Again, he's had a lot of problems. This is where I'm comfortable taking someone like Andre Carter. I'm thinking of your team, offensive line-wise. I could try to get a guard in there. Could try to get a center in there for sure. Center's not worth it at pick 20, but I'm saying for second round. Guard's definitely on the table. I would say you're not going to do that 2 years in a row, though. So let's pause that idea. Tackle's not worth it right now either, since the fact that I like offensive line. I like to take them early. I say wide receiver, you don't need to target them right now. Honestly, Nico Collins looking really good. Running back looks great. Quarterback, we just solved it. So offensively, I think we're good. Edge rusher, I think that's a position we could target. Safety, I think we kind of already wiped out the one dude who's my dream pick for them. Jalen Skinner's a fun option next to Jalen Pitre, but I don't think that's a necessity. Corner, you could, but I kind of don't want to go corner back-to-back. So we're going to go an edge rusher here, and it's either Will McDonald or Andre Carter. It's like whoever the hell you want to choose. And, of course, PFF has yet to update their top 100. But we're going to go Andre Carter here out of Army. He had 59 pressures a year ago, and he's at pretty much half that rate right now. But that is subject to change. If he were at that same rate, he would be in the top 10 easily. Andre Carter is a physical freak. I'm a big fan. He doesn't have the injury concerns of Jared Verse, who's probably going to be the next edge rusher taken, or it's going to be Will McDonald. So, Andre Carter, again, I think that he would just be a really fun project to go after. Pick number 20, somehow the Chargers made the playoffs. I don't even know. At this point, I don't even know. But the Chargers, you need to get some juice. And, honestly, I can't even figure out who the hell I'd want to take from him. Quentin Johnston would be fun, but you're having 3 monster receivers. And I think Robbie Anderson was just sent there. You guys can clarify that one for me. I mean, shoot. You're not going to go guard back-to-back years either. Corner apparently is looking pretty suspect, so that's RIP to that. Linebackers certainly is a position I would be interested in targeting. Defensive interior, of course, is on the board. Hell, all of these are on the board. So for me, I might be going the best value, and that might be Noah Sewell here. Again, it's not because of the fact that linebacker is super valuable. It's because of the fact that there's not many of them in this class. But you also have free agency for that, so maybe we can take a pause there. Defensive interior is something that I probably want to look at. Brian Breezy's really good, but Gervon Dexter has a lot more potential in my eyes. And at this point, you could just try to continue revamping that defensive front, and it could just make you that much better. So without going for 4th and 2 when you're up against a team that you could probably stop, I think that this is a team that could definitely make the playoffs, and hopefully that radicalization will change over the season. Pick number 21, we have the Vikings here, who somehow almost lost to the Bears. We'll get past that. Cornerback is my primary concern. There's a lot of really good players here. Cam Smith, Tyreek Stevenson. I'm going to go Tyreek here. He had one bad game. I think that he's just an absolute baller, really good in press, really good in man. He fits. To me, he's Pat Pete. Pick number 22, we have the Falcons. Wow, just kidding. We have the Cardinals on the board. And for me, if I'm sitting here, I'm the Cardinals. Yeah, you could go Bijan, because a lot of people love to go Bijan. I'm not going to, because again, this is a really good running back class. I'm going to go corner. I'm going to do it. We're going to go Cam Smith here. I'm giving the proverbial middle finger to the Ravens. God forbid. Pick number 23, the Packers. If I could run this up faster, I would. Quentin Johnston. He's on the board. Take him. I know that they don't want to, but I'm forcing them to. Pick number 24, the Cowboys are sitting here. And again, this would have been a great spot for a wide receiver. Jermaine Burton, I'm not going to probably take him in the first, so we're not going to. But they definitely could still use a guard up in here. Again, I still think they can boost that offensive line. Tyler Smith looking good. You could go after a tackle. I don't think they're worth it right now. So Andrew Voorhees is someone who also has tackle versatility. This is a way that you're rebuilding your franchise. You're protecting Dak. You're investing in the run game. This is how you're going to be able to build your team the way that you used to through the trenches. Pick number 25 for the Dolphinos. I think let's go linebacker. Let's get a big guy to just absolutely be a true Mike for your team. Let's do it. Tell me what you guys think about that. I'm pretty sure that that's a position where you guys are in need of, and you guys have supported that, so I'm a big fan of it. Somehow Jared Verse is falling, and I'm really pissed off about it because he's going to go to the Ravens, and I'm dying. I'm going to kill myself, I swear. Let's not say that. I am going to cry if Jared Verse goes to the Ravens because I have him as a top 10 player. Pick 26 for the Bengals. Whew. I mean, you got to go with Cyrus Torrence here, right? We gotta. Let's do it. We're going to go with Cyrus Torrence out of Florida. It says Will McDonald, but PFF's going to PFF. Osiris Torrence, I don't know if he's exactly worth a first, but this team desperately needs guard, and he has that potential. He has some poor reps here and there, but, so does Cordell Volson. So I think that that's definitely something you will be in need of come the offseason. Pick number 27. Do we do it? Let's do it. This is going to be Anthony Richardson. Let's take the shot. You could have done it here for the Vikings, but I don't think they're ready to do that. Anthony Richardson's going to be there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And God forbid, we are going edge rusher here. We're going to go Jared Verse. We'll find a player that I would never draft. Iyabi Okie. No. We're not going to draft Iyabi, but Jared Verse is ridiculous. This team doesn't need much. Wide receiver, I don't think it's worth it right now. Cornerback, we've already taken the majority of the ones that are really worth it. So for me, at this point, get BPA, and that's a top 10 player. So God forbid the Ravens do it again, but it fits their mantra. Pick number 29. I think defensive interior certainly could be the target for the Chiefs, and as long as Brian Bryce gets his head and ass wired together, he could certainly be a formidable foe. So we're going to go Brian Bryce here and just add him to Chris Jones. You got it. After seeing Josh Jacobs carve you guys up, I think that's pretty logical. Pick 30 for the Eagles. I'm probably going to go Will McDonald here, but there's somebody a bit more special. We're doing it. Bijan falls to 30. There's some other running backs that are almost equivalently as good to Bijan, but it's Bijan. Let's just go. Let's fly. Man, that excites me. I'm so excited. Bijan's a stud. I love him to death. Pick number 31. This is going to be the same way I ended off my last draft. This is going to be J.L. Skinner, stud out of Boise State. People need to stop sleeping on him. 6'4", 220. Excellent movement skills. And somebody who is just going to boom for this team. So let me know what you guys think. Round 2 is coming tomorrow. See you on the far side. Peace.